Welcome back to the nationally recognized Real Estate Radio Network's Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Radio Show on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Make sure to get great information or ask your important questions at donandgino.com. Now, back to your friends, Don and Gino.
Talk about great information. I love this hour with our incredible expert today, Mrs. Carol Anderson with RE/MAX. Thank you for joining us, Carol.
Thank you, Don.
You having fun in the vault so far?
I love it.
We locked you in the vault.
I know.
We ain't let you go.
Yep, you're locked in. We got it locked. Yeah, and we'd love you to, but you can get into the vault. We have it door locked, but you can get in by going to donandgino.com, DONANDGINO.com. Click on the listen and chat live, and voila, you're in the vault here with us.
Yeah, we're in the chat room right now, and I'd love the chat room because you can ask questions, live questions of our guests, live questions of me. And like I said earlier, make fun of Don. That's usually how it goes.
Thank you very much. I'm okay with that. I'm thick-skinned. I've been in the mortgage industry for 26 years, so I can take anything.
Nothing can be more difficult, except maybe real estate. That's the other one.
Well, Carol and I can attest to this. We've been through a few of these little ups and downs now.
Little.
Yeah, this one wasn't so little. A lot of you had to deal with this, as did we. I mean, my family suffered a lot, hardships as well. Wife losing a job, 18 years, woohoo, all good, and then whoop, what? Yeah. One company buys them up and then tanks. So we know what you've gone through, and the good news is the real estate market has been rebounding, as you've seen. And we want to preface that do not believe in the hype. We stand by our convictions, and we throw out our opinions, and one of them is that we are not going into a real estate bubble. There will be, as it slowed down a little bit, it had to. It was going nuts. When prices are going up double digits nationwide, we're talking 12.4 to 12. It was only 12% last month versus 12.4% the month before. Wow. It's still up 12%. Los Angeles, I mean, come on. California's up 22.5% year over year. That's a quarter more, 25% more in value in just a year. And we're only second behind Nevada, which is 25.3%. So we're talking, It's smoking. It's still strong, but it has to slow down. It cannot stay at these levels. We just had a deep hole to dig out of.
Yeah, you know what's happening, Don, is it's got to cool down. I actually think it's quite pleasant. I think it's actually seasonal. I've actually heard quite a few people say, well, I don't want to move out of my house during the holidays. I don't want to have to make that change now. That tone's already
No, but then you got the other side going, how can you get me in my home for Christmas or for New Year's?
That's true. I just
met, we were just meeting with Don Zinovich, one of his clients, and I sat down with him and they're like, can we get in by Christmas? What do you think, Carol? You'd be glad to help somebody get in by Christmas, right?
Give me a call.
Actually, how can they reach you? What's the best way? I want to make sure they get a hold of one of the top real estate agents in Santa Clarita.
Either to call my office or my cell phone. I put my cell phone out there, so...
Go ahead.
Okay, 661-406-7568. My shameless plug.
No. We want to plug you because we want to make sure... we've been very careful, Carol, and this is a compliment to you and all the other experts. We only bring on top experts here. There's 1,200 real estate agents. We've brought on 20-something.
Yeah.
There's, I don't know how many CPAs, how many financial planners, a few insurance guys out there, and we've only brought on the best and brightest because we want you to get solid information from experts that have the experience and compassion and knowledge to assist you with our goal, which if you read our tagline, go check it out sometime. It says Don and Gino, Real Estate and Finance Show, guiding you to personal and financial wellness.
Yeah, and it does take a lot. People sometimes forget to ask questions. Mm-hmm. They really do. They forget to ask the things that are important to them, and sometimes get carried away in the moment. I mean, I'm sure you get questions every single day. In fact, what are the top questions that a real estate agent gets asked? I know what the first question that comes out of everybody's mouth for me is, what's your rate? And that's not even the right. It's not even the right question. But there's so many. So I've got to turn around and ask 50 questions to really get down to the bottom of what their goals are. But what's the top question that you receive, and is that the right question, or is there other things they should really ask about?
Well, Don and I were talking about that, and it depends too. If it's somebody who already owns a home, if it's somebody who already owns a home, often it's like, well, what's my home worth?
And so ultimately, how does that conversation go? Because that's that's obviously an opinion,
Right.
right? And they're asking you what your opinion is, and they may interview you, and they may interview some other agents. So, if they interview multiple agents, and there's going to be a natural tendency to want to go with the one who tells them the home is worth the most. I think that's just human nature, right? Oh, this guy says my house is worth 400, and the other one says 350.
Okay, we're right there beside you too, Carol, because we get whoever's got the lowest interest rate wins.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's not always the right answer. Just
Yeah.
like the person that says, I'm going to wait till somebody tells me my home's worth more than the other person says. But there's detriments to that, isn't there?
Well, I always tell people, I mean, we can list your home for $1 million, even though it's worth $500,000. It doesn't mean that it's going to sell. So, I mean, we'll list it for whatever you want to list it for. I mean, within reason. but, I mean, you have to be realistic. What are the homes in your neighborhood selling for? Because even if I get some crazy buyer who didn't look at any other homes and came to just make an offer on your particular home, and they're willing to pay $200,000 more, odds are they're going to need financing, and it's going to have to appraise. And if it doesn't appraise, are they going to make up the difference?
Yeah, that's a big piece. Actually, you brought up an important thing. We're talking about experience and just listing the home for whatever. But there's something to be said, especially in your little world here that we all live in here, Santa Clarita, the best kept secret in the world. Everybody knows everybody, and reputation is key. And working with a true professional like Carol Anderson and the Neil Eichels and stuff like that are just pure professional. You have a reputation that helps, meaning if you were to list the home, they trust that you're probably listing it at a fair price. Whereas somebody who doesn't have the experience or lists it $200,000 over because it makes the potential seller, I'm going to say potential seller because I don't think it'll end up working out in the long run. They'll end up calling Carol anyways. It doesn't sell. Therefore, their reputation is scarred, and therefore, what are your chances of going to that agent thinking, that's the home I want to go after for my buyer?
Well, I have an interesting story that
I
is
like
just
stories.
Right. There was a property that was assigned to me. It was a bank-owned property, and the asset manager had come back to me after it was assigned to me and said, well, we have this other agent who valued the property higher. And I said, well, go ahead and list it with that other agent because I know for a fact it's not going to sell. And I knew that they usually did, like 60 or 90-day listing agreements. And I said, but do me a favor, if you're going to list that property with him, hold his feet to the fire on that price because I'm certain that he's not going to sell it. And then after he doesn't sell it, come back and list it with me. Well, guess what? I got the listing. I mean, he listed it. He didn't sell it. Fortunately, it wasn't a super rising market.
Boomerang.
So he
listing.
wasted 2 months of their lives.
Yeah.
But that's frustrating too. Because I know when you overlist a home, and this is why it's important to work with a true professional like Carol Anderson with RE/MAX. Because, for example, certain markets are hot. Certain tracks, one track next to another can be completely different. You can have one where there's nothing for sale, therefore you can ask your price because there's no competition. A good agent will know that, not just go, what was the last one sold for? Because if they did that with another track that had, let's just say 5 for sale similar to yours, and you wanted to go, well, what was the next sale, and I want to go higher, well, you now have competition. Therefore, their chances of selling it for a higher amount will be their chances a lot less because of the competition, obviously.
And it depends a lot on your location. Is your location superior? Truly, is it? Are the upgrades that you have superior? Truly, are they? I mean, because everybody thinks that their house is the best house, but
mine is.
You know what's funny about that? You say that I have in the past. I was in the marble and granite industry, and what's really interesting is you can buy granite for $6 a square foot, or you can buy granite for $58 a square foot. But guess what? When the appraiser comes in there, it's just granite.
Well, and that's why I'm saying it's really nice when you work with a professional that can be honest. I mean, how hard is it? Sometimes you just got to be honest. I know we are when we do, when we're setting up loans. There's a lot of times, when Gino gives them a quote, they're like, that's not what I want. I want to buy that. Well, I'm sorry, but you don't qualify for that. That's just plain and simple. Here's what your numbers are. Let's be realistic of what your goals are. This is the payment option you want. And I like that you put it, the questions that they should ask are the real questions, based on my lifestyle, based on where I work, based on my budget. Heaven forbid, it's about affordability these days, which I love it that the two of the top real estate agents in our town said it's all about affordability now. You ask those questions, and that's the questions they should be asking. I love that.
Absolutely, and I do think it's all about affordability.
Okay, so we've been saving the best for last because we're going to share with you the number one thing. Gino's not my opinion anyways. The number one thing you should be looking for when interviewing a real estate agent that really makes all the difference in the world. We're going to share that with you when we come back to the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. In the final segment, don't go away. We'll be right back.